Grady from grade 9.
Yeah.
So my dream is to become an IAS officer like you. And you are my big role model.
Minor correction to the question again. You should not become an IAS officer like me. You should become an IAS officer the way you are.
My name is Fauzana from grade 6, and may I know what are the changes that you are going to enforce to turn Tirunelveli into a completely developed city?
What is it that you want to see? You tell me two things. I'll answer them. Two things that you see as development. What do you see?
My question is, IAS exam is easy or tough?
Pass பண்ண பிறகு நான் easy தான் சொல்லுவாங்க.
My name is Eileen Mary and I am from grade 9. My question is, what is your next target for Nellai?
நிறைய டார்கெட் வச்சுருக்காங்க. I have a board in my chamber which is very colorful.
Must all be knowing why we are all gathered here. It is for the interactive session with our collector sir. So most of us, everyone now by this time we would be very much familiar with who sir is, right? Yes or no? But if you want to know more about him, that is why he is here today with us. He wanted to have a personal time with you, the children of Muthamil Public School. So without taking much of your time, I just wanted him to.
A very good morning to all of you. I know all of you have been waiting in the hot sun, so I thought rather than a long speech in the hot sun, a little bit candid conversation in a AC room will be better. It's a sweltering heat out there. So I'll leave the floor open. You can be very casual. This is not a very formal session. நீங்கள் என்ன வேணாலும் கேட்டுக்கலாம். General about general things, anything or whatever you feel, whatever comes to your mind, you can feel free, and it's just a purely interactive session. So I leave the floor open. Teachers irukangala, your teachers can also ask. If sometimes you may have to nudge, they don't ask immediately, so you may have to start a question or.
Sir, our children are like, they are very different, sir. Just you start, they will like, they will be bombarding you with questions.
Abdiya, Cherry, okay.
So let us start. Who is the first person to question? Raise your hand.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am Ashwin of grade 8. My question is, who inspired you to become collector?
That's a very, to be very honest, I don't think I was inspired by anybody, but I think my mother itself was a source of inspiration. I don't have any third-party inspiration. I lost my father at a very young age. I lost my father when I was in my 8th standard. So I think pretty much I was brought up by my mother. And I think I can see pretty much all the qualities that I want to be inspired in her, be it time management, be it discipline, be it hard work, be it honesty, be it sincerity. I think I have seen pretty much all the qualities that I need to see in anybody in her. I think it's my mother. Simple answer. மற்றவங்களை யாரும் நம்ம பார்க்கறது இல்லைல்ல, நம்ம கேள்வி தான். We have only heard about the others. We might have read in books, we might have heard from somebody else, but this is somebody whom we have seen, we have lived, and we know for sure that it's a source of inspiration. It's as simple as that.
Good morning, sir. I am Deepak from grade 9. I would like to know whether you were a bright student or a backbencher in school.
I am not an exceptionally bright student. I was always in the 80s. I have never got a rank. Does that qualify to be an average student? I have never got a rank in my school. I was in the 80s. After that, I did my engineering. Grades dropped a little bit. I was around 76-77%. The only rank I remember getting was in my 10th. I topped the district in mathematics. Apart from that, I have not topped. So only for maths I was good, and I had a flair for language. So if you ask me academic grade wise, I was an average student. So I would say I would fall under your category. Okay. So marks wise, no. Academic wise, I was not an exceptionally bright student. I was an average student. But I had a liking towards maths. I had an interest towards history and arts. So yeah, that's it. Academic wise average boss. அந்த பதில் தானே வேணும்.
Yeah, who's the next? Anyone? Yes.
Hello sir,
Yeah,
I'm
hello, hi.
Vishal from grade 12. My question is, many educated people are jobless. What is your opinion about unemployment, sir?
Okay, I'm correcting your question. Educated people never become jobless. People with degrees or people with superficial education, they are jobless. If you truly imbibe the spirit of education, the spirit of curiosity, spirit of learning, spirit of looking at things critically, having skills, very very important. I think in today's world, you might be an engineer, you might be MTech, PhD and everything, but you may end up as jobless simply because you don't have the right skills, the right aptitude and the right creative bent of mind. And I'm happy that the school is giving emphasis on that. Honestly, if you ask me, I don't remember my 10th standard textbook or my 12th standard textbook. I don't remember a word of it. And I'm not using any of those what I learned in my 10th or 12th right now. But I still remember my school gave me a lot of opportunities to develop myself. So I think I'll reframe that question. You're all lucky. I see a farming space here. I see a lot of focus on environment. I see a lot of creative. So I don't think none of the students here will end up without a job. So don't worry about it. Thank you. Does that answer your question reasonably well? Does that answer your question reasonably well? Okay, good.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm Janani from grade 9.
Yeah.
So my dream is to become an IAS officer like you. And you are my big role model.
Minor correction to that question again. You should not become an IAS officer like me. You should become an IAS officer the way you are. It's very important. Because becoming an IAS officer is fine, very good. I mean, absolutely, it's a brilliant career. It's a great opportunity to serve the nation. But at the same time, I think in today's world, all of you are very independent in many terms from a very young age compared to 10 years before. Compare independence is very high. Your creative thinking or the opportunities for thinking is very unlimited compared to what probably I had. It is a slightly pre-YouTube era. I'm told that there are many YouTube channel creators in this group itself. A lot of okay.
And my question is, what is the optional subject you have taken in UPS Civil Service Examination?
Okay. Before that, I'll tell you a background about myself. I did my engineering. I did my engineering from National Institute of Technology, Trichy. I worked for a year and a half in the United States. I was working in Chicago as a financial risk analyst. Then I came back to India. So my optionals has nothing to do with my education. My optionals were geography and public administration. I took an arts subject. Like I said, I had interest in arts and science, arts, especially arts. With geography, I was quite fascinated. So I took geography. இதனால் நான் சொல்கிறேன் என்ன மாதிரி ஆகக்கூடாது. Okay, for example, you might become a doctor or you might become an engineer or you might become a history student, you might become a musician, whatever it is. So the optional subject for the UPSC is not dependent on your background. It is purely out of your interest. Because an engineer taking geography is not really, it is not logical. So it's out of pure interest. Your plain answer to your question is geography and public administration are my options.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Excellent, madam. All the best. So you are in which standard now?
sir,
Nice.
I am Sham from 6th.
Another 10 years, hopefully we'll see you then. Okay. Bye. சொல்லுங்க நீங்க அப்படியே சொல்லுங்க.
Sir, I am Ishan from 6th grade.
Yeah. Good morning.
Sir, Tirunelveli is famous for halwa. Do you like it?
Obviously, I like it. I like it. I like it hot. I like it melted. that is how we eat Tirunelveli halwa. I like it. Do you like it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
hello.
Shiani from grade 6. My question is, what are the skills required to become a collector?
Okay, that's a very, from halwa to IAS back. Halwa questions is easy. Well, I think just a background. Before telling about the skills, you have to understand the work or what is the government. What does the government do? And இது தெரிஞ்சாதான் நான் skills பற்றி பேச முடியும். சுருக்கமாக நான் சொல்றேன். The world's toughest problems are faced by the governments. என்னை பொறுத்தவரை நீங்கள் சொன்ன அத்தனை விஷயங்களும் காலையில் பேசின விஷயங்கள் டிஃபாரஸ்டேஷன், ஏர் பொல்யூஷன், வாட்டர் பொல்யூஷன், இந்த மாதிரி மனிதனாக சந்திக்கக்கூடிய அனைத்து சவால்களையும் சொல்யூஷன் கொடுக்குற ஆள் தான் கவர்மெண்ட்டு. ஆனால் அதுக்கு சொல்யூஷன் இருக்கா? நிறைய விஷயங்களுக்கு சொல்யூஷன் நம்மக்கிட்ட இல்லை. நமக்கு இல்லைன்னா கவர்மெண்ட் மட்டும் இல்லை, மனிதனுக்கே தெரியாது அதுக்குள்ள சொல்யூஷன். இந்த மாதிரி toughest challenges of the world is what we are trying to solve. So definitely, if you ask me, the skill sets required are one, listening to people is very, very important skill. If you ask me whether I have to know engineering and all that is secondary. First, understand people's problems, because we are trying to solve the needs of the earth, people and its inhabitants, including biodiversity and plants and animals, everybody. The government also solves animals problems also. We are having a wildlife sanctuary, we are having tiger reserve. So, all living species and non-living species problems we are trying to face. The biggest skill set required is listening to people very carefully and trying to connect different thought processes. Simple as உங்களுக்கு thought process இல்லை. இப்போ இது இங்கே உட்கார்ந்து உங்கள்கிட்ட பேசுறதே it's a very challenging skill. Somebody is asking about halwa, somebody is asking about UPSC, somebody is asking about geography, somebody is asking about. You have to connect so many things. I think the single skill is listening to people, trying to connect complex environments. இதுதான் simple work. நான் technical சொல்ல விரும்புகிறேன். It will long time. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm Reena of grade 11.
Yeah.
So, which course did you choose in your high school, and do you regret or feel happy that you have chosen that particular course?
Course, I think you meant after my 10th, the stream. I took computer science and maths. So I don't regret, because I don't remember any of it. So I don't regret it. But I think, like I said, I had a flair for mathematics. I was, as a student, I was not a great student, but I was very strong in maths and other subjects. And few other subjects which I liked. So in that sense, I don't regret anything so far. It's been a pretty much good decision that I've taken so far. Any particular reason why you're asking that?
I am literally confused.
You're in 11th, you're literally confused whether you're on the right track. Which is your stream?
Pure science.
Your science is what? Botany, zoology and computer science.
Biology, chemistry, physics, English and physical education.
Both may nalla thane irukku. Enjoy, it's a good stream. You don't have to regret anything. You are like I said, you are not going to remember anything that you studied today 10 years down the line. Okay, take it from me, guarantee. None of it is going to be, you are not going to remember. But at the same time, don't get worried about the academics part of it. Enjoy the overall school environment, enjoy your school time to the maximum. Try to, be curious, be inquisitive. I think those are the skills that are required. Subjects are irrelevant. Like I said, I studied engineering, 4 years of engineering, and then I did geography. There's absolutely no connection. And today I'm not doing either not engineering nor geography. I'm doing something else. So I think in today's world, it's not important what you study or what you take. Enjoy what you study, but at the same time, take interest and be curious of what's happening around the world. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. My name is Erila Rasi and I am from grade 6. Sir, I would like to know what one wish did not come true in your life.
Okay. What wish did not come true in my life? Okay, now we are getting into really tough questions. You see, professionally, a lot of things are there, which I wanted to do and still not. One of the things is, all of us know that we are trying to revive Tamarabarni and water bodies. So I think that is very far away from our this thing. Otherwise, I don't think I have pretty much whatever, because I don't aim very high, in the sense I'm very clear on what is achievable, what is not achievable. In that sense, I think environment is something which is close to my heart, and I think we have not reached anywhere where we should be. That will be my simple answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
But
sir.
that's the toughest question. I'll think about it, and if I get a better answer, I'll get back to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನುಕೂಲದ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೆಲ್ ರಾಂಗ್ that is not for me.
Hello sir.
Hello, hi.
I am Darvesh of grade 11. Recently a pathetic situation happened that we lost many lives in a mining station. So how can we control this incident in future, and what kind of protocols can be followed by the workers in rock?
Good. You're reading the Hindu and you're reading the Indian Express well. Good question. Like I said, I go back to the statement that I made in the end. There is enough for every man's need, but not for every man's greed. This incident, very unfortunate incident, is driven by the fact that the development that we follow today is a very materialistic development. All of us know, for example, you know that for sure you need stones. So looking at the huge demand that today our economy or our society or our mankind is looking at, we don't have that many resources, unfortunately. Now it's a collective decision that all of us have to take, that look, we need to move to alternate types of development. So on the Kaliki there are many other alternatives, but how feasible it is, how economical it is, we don't know. So you cannot go on building roads, you cannot go on building concrete structures forever. So simple answer to your question is, yes, we need a stronger enforcement, but at the same time there is a market demand. உங்களுக்கு வீடு கட்டணும், உங்களுக்கு கல் வேணும்ல, need stones. Now where do we go there? If not for stones, what are the alternatives? It's a very tough situation of matching the demand of the market, at the same time enforcing that it doesn't go beyond what is needed. Okay, does that answer your question?
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good
My
morning.
name is Fauzana from grade 6. And may I know what are the changes that you are going to enforce to turn Tirunelveli into a completely developed city?
What is it that you want to see? You tell me two things, I'll answer them. Two things that you see as development, what do you see?
The first thing I ever saw was the Palai bus stand.
That you, okay. Second?
Second,
சும்மா சொல்லுங்க, ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அப்படியே லைட்டாக சொல்லுங்க.
I don't know, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, no issues. That's a very frank answer, I like that. Good. I think when you look at development, even you guys saying Palai bus stand. Palai bus stand is definitely a good, it's a bus stand, and buses can park. Earlier there were no bus stands, so we have made a new one. But I think we need to look at development in a slightly different way. For example, we should look at Tirunelveli as a green city. We will have public spaces. ஒரு 1000 ஃபேமிலிஸ் வந்தால் இப்போ உங்களுக்கு ஈவினிங் என்ன அவுட்டிங் போனால் எங்கே போவீங்க? போகிறதுக்கு இடமே இல்லையே. Okay.
So many places to choose from.
Where do you go?
Science Center or Tirunelveli STEM Park.
STEM Park is good?
Yes, it was very nice.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So I think we should look at development as clean water, clean air, and most importantly, hygienic and safe food. I would see development on that front. Building structures, building bus stand parks, infrastructure is definitely we will do it. That is a non-negotiable. But beyond that, can we get healthy, hygienic food for everybody? Can we have a space where all the food items that we eat are free of pesticides? Do we get clean spaces to take a walk out? Now, STEM Park is okay, but STEM Park alone is not enough for a city like Tirunelveli. Our population is around 6.5 lakhs in and around the city. For a city of that kind, we need more of those green spaces, we need more of water bodies, and more importantly, we need clean drinking water. So I think that would be the foremost priority. Beyond cosmopolitan infrastructure, and all of you are YouTube era children, you are seeing Singapore and New York and all daily morning to evening. So I know that the expectations of the public is that can I make my city into a Singapore, or can I make my city into a US standards or Western standards basically. But I think we have to slightly look at it in a different way. Our basic amenities are water, air and clean food. Then we get into more of hard infrastructure. Okay. But thank you that you told me that you like to spend part. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Are you in Singapore? Which part of Singapore? Where do you live in Singapore? Okay, there. Okay. And do you know that water from Singapore comes from where?
Actually, bathroom water.
Bathroom water.
Bathroom water is filtered and then we get it as pure.
Excellent, excellent. So that is the level of, and Singapore has one of the world's best water management and air pollution, air quality standards, ambient air quality standards. In fact, if you look at photographs of Singapore, I was in Singapore for almost a month. We were trained there in Singapore government. In fact, in the 1960s and 70s, Singapore was like what we see today. Sewage outfalls and the canals were all dark and a lot of outfalls. But then that country has invested heavily. The people, the government, everybody came together and they changed the entire landscape. And today, reused water is the world standard in Singapore. So water management in Singapore is the best, one of the best models.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Okay, you are
Hello,
right.
sir.
You have enough questions. Hello, ma'am.
My name is Disha. I'm from grade 8. My question is, what do you think about failure and did it happen in your life?
Yeah, I think without failures there's no success. I mean, it's a very clear fact because you don't measure success unless you have encountered a failure. There are a couple of instances where, yes, I have also, faced failures, especially on the, like I said, I lost my father early on. Then our family also struggled a bit. We didn't have a proper house and all that, and we had to slowly, we lived in our government quarters, and then we had to move on. So on the family front, yes, we did struggle a lot initially. Subsequently, in my after my 12th, I had this craze to join the Indian Navy because I come from the city of Cochin, where I'm used to seeing ships and oceans and a lot of backwaters and a lot of naval ships. And I wrote my National Defence Academy exam because I badly wanted to join the Indian Navy. I cleared the exams. I got a good rank. But then I was rejected for Navy because my retina size was slightly bigger than the normal size. And it was a little bit, at that age it was a little bit dejecting because you clear the exam, you cleared everything, you are ready, but then something which you can't change. That my retina size was slightly bigger. I had a perfect vision, 6x6 vision. Earlier I did not have specs. So I was very sure that I had a perfect vision. Everything was spot on. But at the end of the day, the result was I couldn't join the Navy. And I think that was a bit dejecting at that point. Looking back, it's a small thing. At that point in time, it was a bit dejecting.
So
Yeah.
if you had joined in Navy, you would have missed a wonderful collector training.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Actually, a question from my side.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, as you know, actually nowadays it is very difficult to handle the children as they are exposed to a lot of new gadgets. What kind of advice you can give to them?
I don't advise the children. I think you should advise the parents. You cannot advise the children. As a child, I hated advice. I mean, I don't like anybody telling me, "Adu panna kudadunu sonna kandipa na adu panna." Adu maatra karutte illa. You asked, I studied in a government college. We had 1,000 rules. Don't jump the wall. I will jump the wall. Don't come back by 10 p.m. in the night. I will not come back by 10 p.m. I will come back only at midnight. So I think, like I said earlier, I think that today's kids and overall across the world, the kind of thought process or the kind of ideologies that the children imbibe is a very good thing compared to 10 years, 20 years ago, including many important things like sexuality, gender. Children are very, very conscious today. They understand gender in a very, very important way, which 10 years or 20 years ago they may not really appreciate. Today we talk about gender very openly. I think it's a very important move. As far as your specific question about gadgets is concerned, the first step has to start with family. parents have to stop using mobile and exit out of all the family groups, uncle group, auntie group, and all that. Come out of all those groups and because I saw it live. My mother is now 74 or 75. 74 and 75. 5 years ago, I got her a mobile phone for the simple reason so that my sister is in Chennai and the family members are elsewhere, just to connect with them. Now she is addicted. She started seeing YouTube and she says that, oh, inneki andha issue nadandhukka. I am not aware. So I think it is a common problem and it's unfair to blame the children that you are addicted. All of us are addicted. We live in a world, for example, even me today. The entire administration today runs on WhatsApp. If not for WhatsApp, the world will come to an end pretty much. And if not for Google, I think all of us can sit at home. So I think it has to start from. It's unfair to blame a particular section or a group and say that you are addicted and we are not.
Yes, of course, I think definitely, I think possible in future you have attended parent orientation programs.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Any more questions?
Yeah, sure. So please go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
I'm Sindhu of grade 7. My question is, what is the purpose of smart city different from normal cities?
Okay. So, I mean, good question actually. So, city is not something which is new. We have had thousands of years ago. City is something which has always been there. You have heard about the Indus Valley civilization. You have heard about great cities like Athens, the Greek civilization, Roman civilization. The city is not something new. The city has always been there. So, what is new about smart city? It is simply the use of technology for better monitoring. That's all. In fact, I would say smart city order, we should call it smart green city. That's important. More than just calling it smart city. Smart city is simply an add-on into to incorporate into today's world. For example, I'll tell you what happens in our city. Earlier we had street lights across the city, right? 6 மணிக்கு அப்புறம் ஒரு சில ஸ்ட்ரீட்ஸ்ல இருந்து கம்ப்ளைண்ட் வருவாங்க, இன்னைக்கு லைட் எரியவில்லை. How do we know? Somebody will pick up a telephone and complain to the call center or something, and then an engineer will go there and check. But today it's not required. Every single light pole is fitted with IoT technology, so that there is a sensor. Light area straight away the information comes to the command and control center, and we can clearly measure if the light area. So it makes life easier. It's just use of technology. Look at how integrating different sections. That's also important. For example, differently able to taniya facilities create pannranga. That is the only difference that I see in cities and smart cities. Use of technology.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Selvapriya from grade 10.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you one question. Sir, nowadays trees are being cut for road expansion at Tirunelveli district. What do you think for others? What do you think? Can you tell the other solution for same?
So we have not cut all the trees. I said we did cut a few trees. That was inevitable. But we have transplanted almost 80 trees. Not all trees can be transplanted. We have tried our best to minimize the cutting in two ways. One, change the alignment of the road. We change an alternate route. Second is transplanting. But transplanting in many ways always not practical because of the size and or the age of the tree and so on and so forth. But we have taken a conscious decision. We will not touch any heritage or sacred trees. I don't think any sacred trees or heritage trees have been cut. Again, I go back to the development. Do you want a road or do you want a tree? I would go for a tree. But then, try speaking it to a public of 100, they say they want a road. I think it's a collective consciousness of the society that we need to answer. Collective decision as a society or a mankind that we need to answer. Okay? I will try my best not to cut trees.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So my name is Indra from class 8. My question is, IAS exam is easy or tough?
Pass பண்ண வரேன்னா easy தான் சொல்லுவாங்க. But on the other side, there are two phases of it, right? One, while you're attempting, it might look like it's like your 10th standard board exam. Just before you're writing the board exam, you think 10th standard is something really, a Himalayan task. But looking back, very honest answer, it is not about tough or easy. It is about whether you are ready for that exam. Do you really want it? Because see, unlike other exams, I'll just compare with a few other exams. I'm sure you must be aware there are IIMs, the Indian Institute of Management. You need to get into IIMs, IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore. In the Mari famous colleges entrepreneur, you have to write an exam called Common Admission Test, CAT. It is simply a 2 to 3 hour test. That's it. You prepare for 3 to 4 months. ABCD ABC do a generally and you clear the exam. But civil service exam is slightly different. For one reason, it is a long-term exam. You start writing this April, the results will come only in the next April. There are 3 levels. First is the preliminary, then you have the mains, then you have the interview. And you could get eliminated in any of these 3 rounds. So one, are you ready for such a long race? It's not that you might be the brightest person, you might be very, very highly intellectual, or you might know everything under the sun. But still you may not clear the exam. Why? Because you don't have the right aptitude. Again, like I said, you need to have an interest towards a lot of subjects. You might be a brilliant mathematician, you might be a brilliant physicist. You will not be able to clear civil service exam. So, but then if you have the right bend of attitude, you'll be able to clear. So it's not about tough or easy, it is about are you ready for it. If you are ready, then it's an easy one. But if you're not having that bend of mind or that attitude, then it will be a tough exam, because I said it's over a period. There's no other exam in the world where the entire examination itself spans 1 year. It's a long time, right? Daily or exam, and 27 hours of writing you'll have to do non-stop. 27 hours of writing. So if you don't like writing, out, it's a tough exam. Whereas if you're somebody who likes to write, you have a flair for writing, then it's a good exam. It's an easy exam. It's as simple as that. Okay. What do you want to write? You want to enter civil service? All the best. Do well. Okay. Thank you. Sulama, I think somebody raised their hand. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm Dikshita of grade 7.
Yeah, please go ahead.
As a student, what do you think as our role towards the society?
I think you have already answered that in your morning function very well. As students, number one, you need to be, like I said, you are the future. In fact, our generation or people here, we have not inherited the earth from our ancestors. We have actually borrowed it from you people. Okay, it's as simple as that. We have borrowed your source, your wealth for our own good right now. So I think we also have to be responsible, but at the same time, your commitment towards society should be simple. Treat everybody equally, most important. When I say treat everybody equally, not humans alone, but everybody, every living being, even the landscape that you are in. Treat everybody with respect, treat everybody with equal status. I think that is the most important thing that you do back to yourself. Because rest all are achievements. You might become a great doctor, you might become a wonderful engineer, you might become an astronaut, you might become Prime Minister of India, you might become Chief Minister, you might become anybody in the world. But I think treating everybody equally with respect, you get back that double the amount that you give. I think that's the fundamental essence of mankind. I think that's what education is truly, that is the whole essence of education. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Eileen Mary and I am from grade 9. My question is, what is your next target for Nellai?
Nariya target is I have a board in my chamber which is very colorful, lot of writings on it. Like I said, Tamarabarani and water is something which is close to my heart. Second, food safety is something which I am very keen on. It's a very tough, challenging subject because you are what you eat. Right, you are what you eat. What you eat every day forms part of you. Now, if you are not able to give healthy food, rest everything gets compromised. And I think today we are in an era where what we eat, we don't even know what we are eating. For example, you are eating a Maggi noodles or you are taking a sauce. Do you know where it's coming from? We don't know. We are just trusting something which is branded, something which is given to us, and we eat. Same thing with the vegetables and fruits that we have. But I think we have the right to know where it is coming from. We have a right to know what we are eating. We have a right to know, right to choose or reject it. That kind of choices are very important. It's a very tricky subject. It's not an easy subject. It's not something that I can do overnight. but we have a few plans which we are working out in the long term. I think food safety is a very top priority, neglected. Definitely environment and education, these are the top three priorities. Apart from regular work like health and all that. Food safety is something which I think we should really work on. If you have any ideas, please send it across to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we are sure our Muthamil children definitely they will help you in that world to that make that environment in a green way. Actually, definitely they will participate in all the events whatever you have.
No. Last two questions. We wind up. Last two questions. Then 5 hands goes up. 8 hands goes up. Buzzer round money. How many of you are interested in quizzing? Quizzing. I think one request to the management also is that quizzing is like a culture. So, ನಮ್ಮ district ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನೈ ಕೊಯಂಬತ್ತೂರು ಪೋಂಡ್ರ cities regularly there are quizzing contests. I think quizzing is a very interesting way of igniting the students, because it's one, you can make quiz very fun. It's a very very different way of looking at education. In fact, big cities like Chennai, Coimbatore, Bangalore, there are exclusive quizzing clubs right from your high school days. I request that's something which.
Sir, actually 2 months back in cbse college they conducted one quiz competition and actually 2 of the students won the 4th place.
Super. There's something called Indian Quizzing Association, and there's a BBC quiz, then there's a Bonvita quiz. I don't know if they're still there. BQC no Bonvita quiz contest. Our student going to BQC was a dream for all of us, because you can go to Mumbai, stay 5 days in a 5-star hotel, and come back with loads of prizes. At least tier 3, tier 2 cities, if we move towards having a very focused quizzing culture, in the long term, it's a very useful, especially in higher institutions, top colleges, for example, National Law School, Bangalore, IIM Ahmedabad, NID, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. In the Mari colleges, quizzing is a very, it's a culture. Even in IIT Madras or even my own college. In the Mari culture, if it starts from schools, it will be a very, we are working that for government schools. In fact, we are seriously working towards having, we have an online quiz every Wednesday. It is centrally controlled from Chennai. And there's an excellent feedback that's coming with the government schools. But definitely, private schools can work on it in an independent way. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello sir, I'm
Yeah.
Sita Lakshmi of grade 11. My question is, share your good memories in your school days.
Yeah, okay, very good. Like I said, I don't remember anything in the textbooks, but my school gave a lot of emphasis on extracurricular and co-curricular activities. So I was the school house captain, and I think if you ask me my most memorable and most the most memorable leadership position, I wouldn't say district collector, I would say my house captain. Because I think that's where the foundation, for example, to stand on a podium and speak, right? Unless you get an opportunity, you can't. Now, my school gave me that opportunity, not only me, all the students, but being in a position of leadership gave me a lot of confidence to stand up. I mean, that is what is still holding me. My academics or my textbooks don't help me in speaking. Like, all your tough questions are very tough. Okay? They're very tough questions. It's not easy. You cannot get this, you can't answer these questions from textbooks. But my school gave me a lot of importance in co-curricular activities. We had a strong theatre group. I was part of my theatre group also. Anyway, post college, all that is just a lot of work. But anyways, theatre is something which I've had quite a bit of exposure in. Excellent. Yeah. So theatre and dramatic is something which gives you a lot of exposure. One, it gives, you don't learn team spirit in classrooms. You learn it in only 2 ways, either in a sport or any other cultural creative activity. There's no other way you learn. So I think my most memorable time in the school will be my co-curricular cultural competitions or cultural activities or creative stuff. We had simple things like AdZap. AdZap is simply we have to team 10 minutes you have to create an advertisement out of it. And I still remember that is the most creative thing we have ever done. So I think that's then times I spend with my friends. இப்போ இந்த சிப்பப்பு இருக்காது எனக்கு தெரியல. சிப்பப்புன்னு ஒன்று இருக்குது, 2 rupees இருக்கா சிப்பப்பு இருக்காது அங்கே கிடையாது. எவ்வளோ 2 rupees 3 rupees inflation has added on. I think it was 1 rupee way back. Sipap was the most luxury thing. Because வீட்டிலேருந்து அவ்வளோ பணம் கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. இருக்கிறது எப்படியோ we'll have to manage with the bus fare, and then sometimes we walk also to save. In between, this Pani Puri culture also came up somewhere in between. They had the samosa chaat for 4 rupees and Pani Puri for 2 rupees. So finally that Pani Puri guy, he speaks Hindi only. Finally, seeing us as regular customers, he used to give us 1-2 Pani Puri extra for free of cost. So I think these are small memories that I carry a lot in my school days. I had a very eventful, good school. Very lovely. Thank you.
Sir,
Hi.
I'm Judy of grade 11.
Yeah.
My question is, what was your ambition during your school days?
I think I belong to most of you in this room where I was confused, to be very honest. To be very, very honest, if you ask me, at times I wanted to try singing. IAS was not in my ambition list at all. Let me be very honest in that. Not definitely in my school days. Very honestly, I used to like my teachers a lot. They were very, very, and I was fortunate to be groomed by a lot of good teachers, especially speaking good English, especially with good diction, is a very difficult art. And I found that I had a strong advantage even when I came to the Indian Administrative Service. There were people from across the country, 180 officers in a group. And I found that though I am not coming from a big city, I am not coming from a Bangalore, Chennai or a Delhi or various cities like that, but I was able to speak English better than any of those high-end Delhi school or that's simply because I had a good English teacher. Now for my entire career, I had a flair for language. Yeah, now when I joined service, I could not read, write and speak Tamil. Tamil சுத்தமாக எனக்கு தெரியாது, படிக்க தெரியாது, பேச தெரியாது, கண்டிப்பாக எழுதவும் தெரியாது. But today I have picked up all three because my English teacher gave me an interest in language. So today I can speak, write, read, Hindi, English, Tamil and my mother tongue Malayalam. So all 4 languages I can read and a little bit of German too. So I think a teacher who imbibed in me a spirit of simple and understanding about language. It's a great advantage for me, right? Because all my file work is today in Tamil. I have to read, write and speak Tamil day in and day out. And if I had not had that interest in language early on in my school, I don't think I would have. Coming back to your ambition, I wanted to become a teacher when I was in my high school. It changed after that because my 10th standard class teacher, I did not like her. Then it changed a bit. So then I said, teacher, because she was hated by everybody. So from likable to unlikable, you changed turns. Post that, I think for a while I wanted to become computer something because games were very popular then. Appo the games ella vara aarambichaanga slowly. NFS and NFS la ipo irukanu therilla. Irukka. Ipo da ellarum konjam try panni. Sir edo namma language specific. NFS was there. I think then Dota is still there. Dota, Age of Empires. Sorry, I am outdated. So I think that was the time when all these computer games were very, and computer appada vara aarambichaanga. At that time we didn't have smartphones or anything. We had that old this thing, you go round and round for some time and connect. I'm not sure if you would not have seen that, but 3G and all was actually. So for a while I thought I should make games, computer games. Then it changed. Then I realized that okay, engineering pannalam. During my engineering days, that is when I started getting more involved into slightly social issues, and that started picking up my mind. Can we do something? My existence, can we do something? But at the same time, having become an engineer and having got a good job, I took the regular track. I went for a job, corporate job. But then something was not, I wasn't very happy. And I was earning a lot of money, part of it was fine. Except for the money, there was some satisfaction that I was lacking. That's why I came back. In fact, I did not come back also for the IAS. I came back to start my own company in something to do with social causes. Enna pannannu appo clarity illa. Don't worry if all of you are a little bit confused. It's okay to be confused. Not everybody gets a clarity early on. If you are one of those who have a clarity early on, you are one of the few lucky ones in this world. Okay, and don't worry about that. it changes from person to person. If you see somebody you might be inspired, fine, well and good, you're lucky. For others, it's a matter of opportunities. Simple answer is confusing, ma. Although easy to say, that's fine. Thank you.
A final question.
Yeah, final question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am Rudra of grade 11.
Yeah.
Sir, shall I ask one question in Tamil?
இங்கே கேளுங்கம்மா.
Sir, நம்ம திருநெல்வேலி
இன்னொரு விஷயம் சொல்கிறேன். நான் இவ்வளோ இங்கிலீஷ் இந்த திருநெல்வேலி வந்து ஃபஸ்ட் டைம் தான் பேசுகிறேன். இங்கே வாய்ப்பே இல்லையே, நம்ம ஃபுல்லாகவே தமிழ் தான் பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கோம். நீங்கள் தமிழ்லே பேசுங்க, ஒன்றும் பேசுங்க.
சார், நம்ம திருநெல்வேலியில் வந்து தாமிரபரணி ஆறு நிறைய இருக்குது, நிறைய இடத்துல ஓடுது. அது வற்றாத நதின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஆனால் வந்து சில இடத்துல அது நல்ல வளமையாக இருக்குது. சில இடத்துல வந்து பீப்புள் வந்து குளிக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லி நிறைய டிட்டர்ஜென்ட் அந்த இதெல்லாம் போடுறாங்க. சில இடத்துல வந்து குப்பைகள் எல்லாம் போடுறாங்க. அதே மாதிரி இப்போ நம்ம மேலப்பளை ஏரியாங்களெல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ நம்ம டஸ்ட்பின் வச்சுருப்பாங்க. ஆனால் அதுக்கு கீழே நிறைய இது குப்பைகள் கொட்டி இருக்கும். இப்போ கூட நீங்கள் நம்ம புது பஸ் ஸ்டாண்டை வந்து நல்லா புதுப்பிச்சிருந்தீங்க. அது நான் பார்த்தேன், ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்துச்சு. ஆனால் நீங்கள் இது டஸ்ட்பின் வச்சுருந்தாங்க, ஆனால் அது பக்கத்துலேயே கீழேயே நிறைய இதெல்லாம் இருந்துச்சு. இதுக்கு வந்து பீப்புள் என்ன மெஷர்ஸ் எடுக்கணும், இல்லை கவர்மெண்ட் என்ன மெஷர்ஸ் எடுக்கணும்?
ஐ திங்க் உங்களுடைய பாராட்டுகள், மனமார்ந்த பாராட்டுகள். நீங்கள் நல்லா கேள்வி கேட்டீங்க. ரொம்ப சோஷியலி ரெலவென்ட் கொஸ்டின். ஒரு நாட்டினுடைய வளர்ச்சி என்பது நம்ம என்ன சொல்லுவோம், நல்ல கட்டிடங்கள் வேணும், நல்ல இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் வேணும். என்னை பொறுத்தவரையில் ட்ரிங்கபிள் ரிவர் இஸ் தி மெஷர் ஆஃப் அ குட் டெவலப்ட் எக்கானமி. இட் இஸ் ஆஸ் சிம்பிள் as drinkable river. Your questionனுடைய essence is that. In fact, there's a saying also that the development index of a country is directly proportional to the quality of its rivers. அப்படி ஒரு டேர்மே உண்டு. நீங்கள் சொன்ன கேள்விக்கு தான் இப்போ நம்ம இந்த முயற்சி எடுத்துகிட்டு இருக்கோம். மாவட்ட நிர்வாகம், தமிழக அரசும் இணைந்து ஏற்றி நிறுவனம், இதே போன்ற பல்வேறு நிறுவனம் இணைந்து நெல்லை நீர்வளம்னு ஒன்று ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கோம். ஒரு முயற்சி தான் இது. வந்து ஒரே நாளே பண்ண முடியாது. ஏன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, தாமிரபரணியை பொறுத்தவரையில் நம்ம பல்வேறு ஸ்ட்ரெச்சஸாக நம்ம இப்போ டிவைட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். பாபநாசத்தில் ஆரம்பித்து அப்படியே அம்பாசடர், கல்லைக்குச்சி, கடைசி கம்ஸ் டு சிட்டி ஏரியாக்குள்ளே தாண்டி அப்படியே புண்ணக்காயில் போகணும். அண்ட் மோர் தென் 7 அணைக்கட்ஸ் are there in the தாமிரபரணி யூனிவர்சிட்டி. ஃபண்டமெண்டல் பாயிண்ட் சாக்கடை தண்ணி நம்ம எங்கே கொண்டு போகிறோம், இதுதான் எசன்ஸ் ஆஃப் அதனுடைய சொல்யூஷன். கேட்டால் இது என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? இது வந்து நான் சிங்கப்பூர் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொன்னேன். 1970s இதே சவால் தான் சிங்கப்பூருக்கு இருக்காங்க. இப்போ இருக்கக்கூடிய சைனா தான் நமக்கு ஒரு கம்பேரபிள் மாடல். இதுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் மக்கள் விழிப்புணர்வு தவிர வேறு எதுவுமே நமக்கு டைரக்ட்லி சொல்யூஷன் இல்லை. ஏன்னா டெக்னிக்கல் சொல்யூஷன் இருக்கலாம், ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் பண்ணி நம்ம இது விடலாம். ஆனால் அதெல்லாம் லிமிட்டட் தான். இப்போ நீங்கள் கரெக்டாக பாயிண்ட் அவுட் பண்ணீங்க, இந்த வைலாண்ட் கூட நம்ம ரிஸ்டோர் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். இன்னும் வேலை முடியலை, இன்னும் நிறைய ஒர்க் இருக்குது. நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி அது பப்ளிக் இன்னும் நம்ம ஃபுல்லாகவே ஓப்பன் பண்ணல. ஸ்கூல்ஸ்லேருந்து தான் இதை ஆரம்பிக்கணும், வேறு வழியே இல்லை. ஏன்னா இப்போ இருக்கிற ஜென்ரேஷன், இப்போ பேரண்ட்ஸ் சொன்னால் பேரண்ட்ஸ் வில் நாட் டீச், they will keep advising. Whereas the next generation has to take this up on a mission mode, which is why events like this are important. ஏன் நம்ம இவ்வளோ டைம் எடுத்து இந்த ஒரு என்வாயர்மெண்ட் டே செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறோம், எதுக்கு இவ்வளோ நம்ம எஃபர்ட் எடுத்து விழிப்புணர்வு நிகழ்ச்சிகள் நடத்துகிறோம்? ஏன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, இஃப் இன் ஈச் ஆஃப் யுவர் மைண்ட், உங்கள் ஊரில் இருக்கக்கூடிய உங்கள் வீட்டிலே எப்படி குப்பை எப்படி பிரிக்கிறாங்க, ஐடியா இருக்கா? ஐடியா இல்லை. பிகாஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் ஃப்ரம் யுவர் ஓன் ஹோம், ரைட்? மக்கும் குப்பையை குப்பையாக பிரித்து போடுறாங்களா? போடுறா எங்கே போடுற? வேர் இஸ் யுவர் வேஸ்ட் கோயிங்? பிளாஸ்டிக் ஆப்வியஸ்லி வீட்டில் நிறைய பிளாஸ்டிக் பயன்படுத்துவாங்கல்ல, அந்த கழிவெல்லாம் எங்கே போகுது? அவரவழி தான் வரும். ஓகே, ஐ திங்க் இந்த மாதிரி ஈவெண்ட்ஸ் பண்ணுறதே நோக்கமே அதுதான். ஆனால் கவர்மெண்ட் மட்டும் நினச்சாலோ இல்லை ஒரு மாவட்ட நிர்வாகம் மட்டும் நினச்சாலோ இதுக்கு முடிவு வராது. இட்ஸ் அ கண்டினியூஸ் லாங் டேர்ம் ப்ராசஸ் that we have to do. And the change has to start with each one of us, including you, me, all of us. It is not easy, it is very very difficult. இங்கே நம்ம வீட்டில் இருக்கிற கழிவு எங்கே போகணும்னு தெரியாது, அதுக்கு பதில் இல்லை. கரெக்ட். ஸோ லைக் ஐ செட், ஸ்மால் இன்டர்வென்ஷன் லைக் டஸ்ட்பின். அதே போல் இப்போ நம்ம மாநகராட்சி பகுதிக்குள்ளே ஒரு 2 வார்டு நமக்கு எடுக்க போகிறோம், கம்ப்ளீட்லி பிளாஸ்டிக் ஃப்ரீ ஜோனாக. அதே போல் கம்ப்ளீட்லி பிளாஸ்டிக் நான் பிளாஸ்டிக் வேஸ்ட் செக்ரிகேட் பண்ணி அது ட்ரீட்மெண்ட்டுக்கு நம்ம ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஸோ வாட் எவர் இஸ் த பெஸ்ட் இன் த வேர்ல்ட் டெக்னாலஜி அவைலபிள் ப்ளஸ் கண்டினியூஸ் அவேர்னஸ் initiatives. இது தவிர I don't think we have any other solution in front of us. Does that answer your question reasonably well?
எஸ் சார். சார் பீப்புளுக்கு அவேர்னஸ் எப்படி கிரியேட் பண்ணுறது?
இந்த மாதிரி நிகழ்ச்சி தான், வேறு வழி இல்லை. இப்போ ஒவ்வொரு மாதம் எடுத்தாங்கன்னா நமக்கு ஒரு நாள் இருக்கும். வேர்ல்டு பயோடைவர்சிட்டி டே, வேர்ல்டு என்வாயர்மெண்ட் டே, வேர்ல்டு வாட்டர் டே, வேர்ல்டு ஃபாரஸ்ட் டே. இந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு நிகழ்ச்சியும் நம்ம ஒவ்வொரு குறிப்பாக லோக்கலைஸ்டாக போகணும். நம்ம இந்த ஸ்கூலில் பண்ணுறோம், ஆனால் திருநெல்வேலி மொத்தம் இதில் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 1300 ஸ்கூல்ஸ் இல்லையா, பஞ்சாயத்து பிரைமரி ஸ்கூல் எல்லாம் 1400 ஸ்கூல்ஸ் இல்லையா. ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்கூல்லேயும் ஒவ்வொரு ஊர்லேயும் ஒவ்வொரு பகுதியிலையும் இந்த மாதிரி நிகழ்ச்சி நடத்தி ஒரு கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 1.5-2 ஆண்டு காலம் நம்ம கண்டினியூஸாக முயற்சி எடுத்தால் தான் இது நம்ம வெளியே வர முடியும். உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு கான்ஷியஸ்னஸ் வரணும். அட்வைஸாக நான் சொல்லலை, இட் இஸ் அ ரிக்வெஸ்ட். அட்வைஸ் உங்களுக்கு பிடிக்காதுன்னு எனக்கு நல்லாவே தெரியும். அதே போல் நீங்கள் திருப்பி வீட்டுக்கு போய் யூ ஸ்டார்ட் திங்கிங் அபவுட் திஸ். நம்ம குப்பை எங்கே போடுறாங்க, நம்ம ஊருக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த பகுதியை நம்ம ஏதாவது செய்ய முடியுமா, நம்ம பெற்றோர்கிட்ட பேசி அவங்க கடையில் எங்கே போடுறாங்க. இப்போ உங்கள் ஃபாதர் மதர் வேறு எங்கேயாவது ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க, பெற்றோர் ஏதாவது நிறுவனத்தில் ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த நிறுவனத்தில் நம்ம என்ன பண்ண முடியும். இட்ஸ் அ சைக்ளிக் சேஞ்ச். It has to go penetrate, start from the school, go into the families and then come back to society. இதுதான் only way out. There is no point targeting top down. Individual, student community, youngsters, family and then the society and then the whole state and then the whole country. This is the only way to go about making mass behavioral change. In economics நம்ம என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா behavioral change னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Behavioral change is the toughest thing to do in this world. Change somebody's behavior because you are influenced by so many factors in that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
For like a very friendly way you answered all the basic questions to us and very well. Thank you. I kindly call upon our chairman, sir, Mr. Muthamil Babu, to deliver a vote of thanks.
ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் சார். இதுக்கு சாரை வந்து நாங்கள் மீட் பண்ணும்போது ஃபஸ்ட்டு சார் வந்து இருந்தாங்க. வந்த உடனே ஒரு நேச்சர் ரிலேட்டட் சைக்கிள் ரேலி. சார் வந்து எப்போவுமே கலெக்டர்ஸுங்கிறதுல சார் நீங்கள் ஸோ ஃப்ளாக் ஆஃப் பண்ணிவிட்டு விட்டுருவாங்கன்னு நினச்சோம். சார் வந்து எங்கள் கூட ஒரு 18 கிலோமீட்டர் சைக்கிளிங் வந்தாங்க ஃபார் வெட்லேண்ட்ஸ். ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்த உடனே சாருடைய ஃபோக்கஸ் ஃபுல்லாகவே ஆன் என்வாரன்மெண்ட். ஸோ சைக்கிளிங் அந்த டீம் முடிஞ்ச உடனே அடுத்து மதி சார்கிட்ட கேட்டாங்க ஏற்றியிலேருந்து. திருநெல்வேலியுடைய அழகுகள் நிறைய மக்களுக்கே தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது, திருநெல்வேலியில் உள்ள நமக்கே தெரியாது. சார் வந்து இப்போ வந்து ட்ரையல்ஸ் ஆஃப் தாமிரபரணிங்கிற புக்குடைய ஆத்தர், கோஆத்தர் பை மதிவானந்த் சார். ஸோ அந்த புக்கில் வந்து நம்முடைய லேண்ட்ஸ்கேப் திருநெல்வேலியில் 5 திணைகள் இருக்குது. 5 திணைகள் எதுலாம் சொல்லுங்க பார்ப்போம். எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஓகே, வெரி குட். இது 5ம் திருநெல்வேலியில் இருக்குங்கிறது எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியுமா? தெரியாதா? தெரியாது. ஓகே, வெரி குட். இப்போ வந்து சாருடைய புக்கு வந்து நம்ம லைப்ரரியிலையும் இருக்குது, எல்லா இடத்துலையும் நம்ம ஸ்கூலில் இருக்கோம், பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். இது ஃபஸ்ட்டு. அப்புறம் திருநெல்வேலி மக்களுக்குன்னு உள்ள ட்ரெடிஷன், பாரம்பரியங்கள் நிறையா இருக்குது. இது வந்து ஒவ்வொரு ஏரியாவுக்கும் ஒவ்வொன்று இருக்கும். பத்தமடைன்னா நமக்கு என்ன ஃபேமஸ்? பாய். அதே மாதிரி அதுக்கு அடுத்து காரக்குறிச்சியில் என்ன ஃபேமஸ்? பானை. ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்ட்ரெச்சுக்கும் ஒவ்வொரு இதுவும் இருக்குது. இது எல்லாமே நிறைய விஷயங்கள் லிமிட்டட் பீப்புளுக்கு தான் தெரியும், எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியாது. ஸோ இதை எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிகிற மாதிரி ஒரு புக்கில் ஃபுல் டீட்டெயிலோடு இருக்கும். ஸோ இதை எல்லாரும் நீங்கள் நல்லா ரைட் பண்ணுங்கள். அது வந்து சாருடைய நெக்ஸ்ட் இனிஷியேட்டிவ். அதுக்கு அடுத்து சார் பண்ணது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 1400 குளங்கள் இருக்குது. 1400 குளத்தையும் இப்போ வந்து நெல்லை நீர்வளங்கிற ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் ஃபார்ம் பண்ணி அதில் மேப் பண்ணுறாங்க. அப்போ வந்து ஃப்ளட் அலர்ட், மேஜர் ரிஸ்க் நமக்கு வரக்கூடியதை அவாய்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு அதில் வந்து கிளியர் மானிட்டரிங் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி என்வரன்மெண்டல் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ் பண்ணுறது இதுக்கு முன்னாடி யாருமே பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க, ஸ்டெப் பை ஸ்டெப் பண்ணதில்லை, ஸ்கேட்டர்டாக பண்ணுவாங்க, கண்டினியூட்டி இருக்காது. சார் வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் ஃபுல் டேட்டாவும் இப்போ நமக்கு வந்து அப்படியே டிஜிட்டல். நீங்கள் எல்லோரும் இன்றைக்கி வந்து நெல்லை நீர்வளங்கிற வெப்சைட் போர்ட்டல் ஓப்பன் பண்ணி பாருங்கள். எல்லாருமே ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் சாப்டரில் ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணவும் முடியும். ஓப்பன் பண்ணி பார்க்க முடியுமா? டைம் இருக்குமா இருக்காதா? ஈவினிங் வீட்டுக்கு போயிட்டு ஓகே எல்லாரும் பாருங்கள். அதில் நிறைய ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் இருக்கும், சாருடைய இது ஃபுல்லாகவே வரும் அடுத்தடுத்து. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி என்வரன்மெண்ட்டுக்கு கண்டினியூஸ்லி ஒர்க் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிற சார் தான் நம்முடைய இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிறாங்க. இப்போ முந்தின சண்டே என்ன டே? ஹாலிடே. சண்டே என்ன டே? ஓகே. அன்னைக்கு வந்து சார் வந்து எத்தனை மணிக்கு எந்திரிச்சு எத்தனை மணி வரை ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க? யாருக்காவது ஒரு கெஸ் இருக்குமா? 8 to 10. மார்னிங் மினிமம் 4 o'clock எழுந்திரிச்சிருப்பாங்க. நைட்டு 10 o'clock வரை கண்டினியூஸ் ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் அட் வேரியஸ் லொகேஷன்ஸ். இங்கே நம்ம ஸ்லோக்ஸில் முதலியார் பாலத்தில் ஆரம்பித்து நந்தவனம் கிரியேட் பண்ணுறாங்க. கோயில்கள் எல்லாம் அந்த காலத்தில் இப்போ ட்ரீ மேப்பிங் நம்ம ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து யாரெல்லாம் போயிருந்தீங்க? ஓகே. அப்போ பார்க்கும்போது பழமையான மரங்கள்லாம் இருந்துச்சா, அந்த மரங்கள் எல்லாம் திரும்ப வந்து சர்வே எடுத்துட்டு இப்போ புதுசாக மரங்கள் வந்து நட்டுறாங்க. எல்லா நந்தவனங்களும் டெவலப் பண்ணுறாங்க கோயில்களில். இதுவுமே சார் வந்து எடுத்த இனிஷியேட்டிவ் தான். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி விட்ட கல்ச்சர் நிறைய நம்ம வந்து மறந்துட்டோம். காலம் இப்போ மாறிக்கிட்டே இருக்கிறதுனால எல்லாரும் பிஸி. எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு தேவை ஏசி, ஃப்ரிட்ஜு, வாஷிங் மிஷின், இதுதான் தேவை. ஸோ இதுக்குள்ளேயே நம்ம அடிமையாயிட்டோம். குப்பைகளை எங்கே வேணாலும் போடுவோம், என்ன வேணாலும் செய்வோங்கிறத நம்ம மாற்றணும்னா நம்மளை வந்து சார் சொன்ன ஒரு முக்கியமான அட்வைஸாக சொல்லலை, உங்களுக்கு அப்படி லைட்டாக சொன்னாங்கல்ல, நம்ம வீட்டில் உள்ள வேஸ்ட்டை என்ன செய்யணும், மேனேஜ் பண்ண தெரியணும். ஓகேயா? வேஸ்ட் ஜென்ரேட் ஆக தான் செய்யும், அதை மேனேஜ் பண்ணணும். கரெக்டாக பிரித்து அழகாக பண்ணிங்கன்னா சூப்பராக இருக்கும். சார் வந்து இவ்வளோ நேரம் நமக்கு டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ண முடியாதுன்ட்டு நேற்று நைட்டு கூட சொன்னாங்க. ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் சார். தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் ஸ்பேரிங் யுவர் வேல்யூபிள் டைம். I wish you a great future in your career.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for